What's up everybody? In this video we're going to be taking a look at the 2019 Subaru Ascent. Alright, we're going to start at the front of the vehicle. Now one thing to keep in mind is that this is the touring trim level. So this is top of the line, it's going to have all the best features, all the bells and whistles, etc. So let's go ahead and start here under the hood. We've got a 2.4 liter turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, which will give you about 260 horsepower, 277 pound-feet of torque, 26 miles per gallon highway, and about 20 miles per gallon city. So just your standard Subaru engine. Moving on to the headlights, you've got LED steering responsive headlights as well as LED fog lights. Moving over to the wheels, you've got 20-inch dark gray aluminum alloy wheels. Moving over here, you've got satin chrome side mirrors with integrated turn signals. Also, you're going to have your chrome door handles and raised roof rails on the touring level. Moving to the back of the vehicle, there are a couple interesting features here. Obviously, you've got dual chrome exhaust tips, sculpted taillights. You got your standard rear view camera here, but you also have a smart rear camera mirror, and it's actually hidden up here. You're not going to be able to see it in the windshield, but if you actually lift it up and take the back panel off, you'll be able to see it. But we'll show you how that works on the inside of the vehicle. There's two more things that I want to mention at the front of the vehicle. We're going to talk about these in more detail as we move on the interior, but it's this little camera right here. This is actually going to work with the EyeSight Driver Assist system to give you a front view of the car when you're pulling out or when you're up against a curb and things like that. Moving over here, you can actually see on the windshield here, I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera, but we do have the two EyeSight cameras that are going to work in conjunction with that camera up front. But we'll talk about that more once we move inside the vehicle. Comfortable? Now that we're inside the cabin, a couple things should jump out at you. First being the ivory leather accents, as well as the wood grain trim accents. Moving over to the center console, you actually have, since this is the Touring Edition, the 8-inch Subaru Starlink multimedia system. Additionally, if you look over here in the bottom right corner, you can see the Harman Kardon Quantum Logic surround sound audio system. Let's go ahead and turn the car on. You're going to be presented with your standard Subaru apps. You've got your phone for Bluetooth connectivity, your map for navigation. You've got your My Subaru app that you can connect to your phone. You've got media, which will give you, your CD player, your USB, or your Bluetooth. You've got apps, Pandora, AHA, things like that. Subaru Starlink will also connect you to the app. And then in your settings, I think there's actually, So you've got 4G LTE Wi-Fi available in the Touring, Premium, and Limited editions. Additionally, if you plug in a USB port into either one of these USB ports, you're going to have the option to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, as well as you've got your aux cord right here. Also down here, if we move the shift knob back a little bit, you've got X mode, which works with the 8.7 inches of ground clearance to give you better control over your vehicle, as well as AVH, which actually replaces hill descent control from previous Subaru models. Staying down here, we've actually got a leather-wrapped shift knob, as well as an electronic parking brake, if you can see that. Moving on up to the HVAC controls, you've got your standard tri-zone climate control available on the higher trim levels. But what's new here is you actually have heated and ventilated leather seats for front seat passengers. Additionally, since this is a 3-row Subaru, you've actually got air vents in every row. So down here you actually have a climate control system for the back row, as well as vents all the way in the back, so you don't have to be trying to share air with the back seats from up here. Moving over to the steering wheel, you've got a 3-spoke leather-wrapped steering wheel, which is actually heated with this button back here. You've got all your standard controls here for adaptive cruise control and lane assist to turn that on and off. And you can also adjust how many car lengths ahead you want your adaptive cruise control to work. Moving on up here, you've got your controls for the panoramic sunroof. You can go ahead and slide that back. As we mentioned outside the vehicle, you actually have a smart rear camera. Now the way you enable this is, let's say for example you're on a trip and you've got so many suitcases in the back seat that you can't even see out the back window. So really the rear view mirror does you no good other than maybe watching what the kids are doing in the back. But Subaru has a way around this. If you actually take this lever right here, pull it forward, it's actually going to turn into a wide angle lens so you can see straight out the back of the car. And if you need to switch it back, it's as simple as pushing this backwards. Moving up to the top of the display, you actually have this smaller display that will give you some information about your vehicle. You can actually use these arrows to cycle through them. You've got different clock faces, different mile per gallon information, Bluetooth, navigation, weather, another face for miles per gallon. You've got your balance and your traction for off-road, and then just an overall about your vehicle. I actually like this screen the best because it shows you what safety features are enabled and just some basic information about the outside of your vehicle. Now that we've looked at some of the interior features at the front of the car, we're actually going to go back outside and take a look at some of the other features towards the back of the vehicle. So you're going to see the same kind of continued design language on the sides of the doors. You've got your wood grain trim as well as your ivory leather trim. Fun fact, the Subaru Ascent has 19 cup holders. You heard that right, 19 cup holders. We'll show you a quick look at all those. All right, those are the sound effects that are going to go behind the video. Additionally, you've got collapsible sunshades. And some Harman Kardon speakers down here. As you can see, we've got beautiful Java brown leather seating surfaces, as well as manual controls for the second row captain's chairs, allowing for easy access to the third row. Like we showed earlier, we have second row AC controls, as well as an AC power outlet, and 2 USB ports for charging. We told you earlier that the Subaru Ascent had 19 cup holders. There are 3 on each door, 2 here, and let's move on to the back row. Now we're in the third row. Like I mentioned before, 19 cup holders. You got 2 more here, as well as a speaker, 3 here, as well as a speaker, and best of all, well, let me show you. USB charging ports for third row passengers. Here, take the camera back. Last but not least, we have our air vents for the third row, like I mentioned earlier. Let's go ahead and take a look at how much space is actually in this vehicle when you lay all the seats down. Now that the rear gate's open, you have access to the third row, and there are a couple things you can do. You can use these handles here to lean the back row seats back a little bit. Additionally, you can pull them and then push the seats forward to create more storage space. There is one other cool thing you can do, and that's set up the cargo shade. It's located under this flap. Simply take it out, and you have these latches on either side. Pull back, press the latch, and then extend. Do the same with the other side. And you have a cargo shade. The last thing we want to show you is the power lift gate. Now there are 2 ways you can open it. There's a switch on the inside of the cabin, as well as a button that allows you to adjust the max height if clearance is limited. The second way being the key fob. Now there's a button you can press and hold, and it'll open. There's a button here to close it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the 2019 Subaru Ascent.